Welcome to Truckee Talks. I'm your host, Maia Schneider. And tonight we're talking about the grand opening of the new Tahoe Forest Hospital Hospice, Thrift and Gift Shop. But really, we're going to start with the services that this thrift shop will support, and that is the hospice program. With me on the first segment of the show are Dr. Bradford Lee. Nice to have you here on the show, Dr. Lee. And Eileen Knudson. Eileen, nice to have you on the show, too.
Thank you very much.
You've been very busy, I know, with all of this. Dr. Lee, let's start with you. First, give us a little bit of your background, how you got here, how you got involved with hospice, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what hospice is.
I'm a retired cardiac surgeon. My wife and I moved up from the Bay Area in 1998, and my wife is a hospice nurse, and she got involved with the hospice here at Truckee Forest, Tahoe Forest Hospital, and I eventually was asked if I could spend some time and become their medical director.
So you thought you were retiring.
Right.
And haven't necessarily had the relaxing lifestyle that you wanted. Eileen, you're the director of the hospice, and what's your background?
Basically, I've spent the last 25 years doing community service, home health program, and working all over the world, actually. And I just came to this area and found that there was no hospice program, and it was a great need.
Well, let's talk a little bit about hospice. I was fortunate today. I was able to attend a luncheon that you held explaining hospice to women in our community. But tell the general community at large, what is hospice? I don't think everybody understands the concept behind that.
Hospice can be looked at as a comprehensive care program for patients who have a terminal illness that offers not only it has as its goal basically to allow a patient to have the best quality of life with his or her family during their illness until death occurs. Hospice also will support the family and the patient with psychological, physical, spiritual support with an interdisciplinary group of professionals that meet once a week in our hospice meetings.
Now your background is a cardiac surgeon, so you come from the science of keeping people alive, if you will, and hospice really deals with people's last days. How has that shift been for you?
Well, in my practice as a cardiac surgeon, even though we make every attempt to get patients through their surgery, there are always cases where you encounter patients who basically have terminal heart failure, other diseases that unfortunately don't make it possible for them to survive the insult of surgery. And I, in my practice, was exposed to a lot of patients and families who expressed tremendous grief in the loss of their loved ones. So it was a natural transition for me in my retirement from doing what we call acute care or curative care and transitioning into what's called palliative care, which is what we do in hospice.
Eileen, you found that there wasn't hospice here. What triggered in your mind the need for this? Had you been active in another hospice program?
Well, not really. Basically, we were taking care of terminally ill patients in our home health department here in Truckee, and we just found that not only was there a great need to develop a Medicare certified, California licensed, and Nevada licensed program, but it was the community asking the home health department or Tahoe Forest Hospital, if you will, to develop this program. And so with the entire community as well as our hospital, we got 100% backup, and we were able to follow through and get this done. It took 1 year of developing policy and procedure, and then we invited Medicare, who gave us flying colors, and here we are.
So there's licensure for hospice.
Licensure.
And your background is also in medicine. You're a registered nurse.
Yes.
And do you stay current on that?
Yes.
Do you work with hospice patients as well, or are you really more the...
I actually do the Spanish-speaking patients.
Oh, you really are a Jacqueline of all trades.
But because there's been so much to do as far as being a hospice coordinator, I haven't had really a whole lot of time to go out and see patients, and I think that's the hardest part for me, because I really love patient care.
Yes, yeah, and that's the heart of hospice, if you will. That's right. Really what keeps it going.
I wanted to mention one thing
Sure.
about our group, because he did say something that that is very important that the public need to understand, and that our hospice program is surrounded by a interdisciplinary group. We are part of a team, and this team is volunteers. It's our medical directors. Dr. Cynthia Wittenberg is our director for Nevada area. We have nurses, aides, we have physical therapists, we have volunteers, which is an integral part of our whole program, and our medical social worker. We have a bereavement program.
Tell us who is eligible for hospice? Who would be a likely candidate for a hospice program?
Generally, a patient who has a diagnosis of an illness that is not responsive to curative treatment. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, that patient would be referred to hospice from his or her physician with the understanding that under Medicare guidelines that their diagnosis is such that their life expectancy is approximately 6 months or less.
And we've got a telephone number I know we can put up on the screen for this. The telephone number for the hospice office is local number 582-3534. We'll be showing these telephone numbers and contact information during the break as well. And then the service area. Eileen, how large of an area is Tahoe Forest Hospice covering now?
Yeah, I think you'll be amazed, our service area. Our base is Truckee, and we start off in Truckee, and we go all the way to Meeks Bay, over to Incline Village, Verdi, all the way up to Saline, is it Serene Lakes?
Serene Lakes. Mm-hmm.
And Baxter as well, Portola. We've had patients as far as Lake Davis, Beckworth, Loyalton, and of course the immediate Truckee, Tahoe City area.
That's a large area. Do you know approximately how many patients you've served?
We've served over 100 in the last 2 years.
That's terrific. What a service. And what kind of feedback are you getting from families?
Go ahead.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous feedback. They're just so thankful to have a program that services them, so that allows them to stay at home, and to give them a quality of life that's positive, that they can be comfortable and they can be surrounded by their loved ones.
Yeah, that really makes a difference.
Maia, also, I might add that one of the most important members of the team, of what we call the interdisciplinary team, are the volunteers. The volunteers come from the communities, the various communities that Eileen had mentioned, as well as around the Truckee area. And these are people who basically have a lot of compassion, caring, and a need to want to spend time supporting a family and giving respite care for a loved one or a caregiver, such as a spouse, so that she or he can go shopping for 3 or 4 hours or get some rest for themselves.
Just get some fresh air. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk a little bit about how hospice is funded then. You clearly have some expenditures. What is your revenue? How is hospice supported?
We are reimbursed by Medicare as well as Medi-Cal, Medicaid, being that we're part of Nevada, Blue Cross Blue Shield. All the insurance companies have a hospice piece to it, so we do get reimbursement. Unfortunately, it only is 70%, and that is kind of a national average. We've done several studies. It's also the National Hospice Organization out of Washington has come to that conclusion as well, that 70% is basically our reimbursement rate, and all hospices throughout the country must raise 30%.
And you found a unique way to do that.
We did. I think this town has donor fatigue as far as going door to door, but I will tell you that it is an incredible community as far as offering service and financial, monetary donations, as well as work, and we have some examples for that. I don't know.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the grand opening of the Hospice Gift and Thrift, because that's really going to be the financing arm now for the hospice. So what is it, why now, and how's it coming along?
We're very close to opening, and it's going to open actually July 4th. We have worked on it for almost 2 years. The first year we wrote a few grants, and we did receive one grant of $15,000, and we did do a fundraiser put on by the Friends of Hospice, which is a fundraising arm of our program, and they did a wonderful dinner about a year ago, and they raised almost $15,000 or more. So we do have some startup costs for our program. Basically, we had to find a building, which we finally did, and we've asked several different members of the community to help us do the construction, the painting.
Well, Eileen, I know you have a list of
Yes.
people you want to thank, so let's run through that.
Oh, my goodness.
Sort of like Miss Marianne and Romper Room, but there's definitely people that have put a lot of energy into this. I know you want to
I
recognize.
especially want to recognize Chuck Rooms and his son Justin, Bill Pollard, Bob Bernard, Jeff Harris, Brian Steffens, Greg Faulkner, Mike Yankin, Logan Lumber out of Reno, Truckee Tahoe Lumber, Mountain Hardware, Charlie Smith, Larry Stewart, Cabonas and Jackass Ridge, Steve Bartnick, Mr. and Mrs. Charles Smith, Ed Collins, The Treehouse, Bob Hamilton, John Hassenblog, and it goes on and on. And I just can't believe what a wonderful community we have.
They really have come together.
Ah.
Dr. Lee, have you been involved in all of the craziness surrounding the opening of the hospice?
With the thrift store?
Thrift shop, yes.
I keep my ears out and listen to it. I actually have not stepped in yet to take the tour, but I will shortly.
Well, it sounds like you're getting certainly a lot of contributions, a lot of donations. People are putting in some time. A couple of names I know that you mentioned off camera, that Stephanie Olivieri has really been an instrumental part of making this happen.
Yes.
And that's terrific to have the resources of somebody who clearly understands retail help
Between
with the
racks and
opening of the
giving us
shop.
support and letting us, because obviously I'm a nurse. I know nothing about opening a store, and it's just been incredible to have the support of this community because, frankly, we couldn't do it.
And it will be staffed also by volunteers.
By volunteers.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Dr. Lee. That's a good reminder. The hospice is looking for volunteers. We'll be making a call for that throughout this show. Volunteers not only to staff the thrift shop that will be opening 4th of July, but also to work with patients. There's a training program available for volunteers for that, or to work in the back office at the hospice. Lots of help needed for a really helpful group of people. We just have a minute to wrap up this segment. Any closing thoughts on this before we go to the next couple of folks to tell us about the store?
Let's see, I was going to mention something about the thrift store and how the community has come together to bring such great items to us. And I think our next segment, they'll talk more about the types of items that we'd like to come to the thrift store. We'd like it to be a quality thrift store, and I just appreciate everybody taking the time to give us quality items as well.
All right, well, we'll be talking more about the thrift store, where you can find it. I just can't decide whether to say store or shop. That's my problem here. We'll be talking more about the store, where it's located, and what you'll be able to find there. I'd like to thank Dr. Bradford Lee and Eileen Knudson for being on the show, and we'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned, and we'll have information on the screen how to get a hold of hospice. Welcome back to the show. We're talking about Tahoe Forest Hospice, and right now we're talking about the new gift and thrift store that'll be opening up on the 4th of July. With us on this segment are Janice Baumgartner. Janice, nice to have you.
Hi, good evening.
And Lois Fletcher. Lois, nice to have you here as well.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about what your roles are with the hospice. Lois, let's start with you.
Well, they tell me I'm going to be the manager. And I'm really excited. I feel like I've been given a gift, and I want to wrap it up and put a lot of money into hospice, and so I'm looking forward to the challenge.
So you're going to be managing the store and the day-to-day
Working
activities.
with the volunteers, enjoying the volunteers so far. They've been wonderful, and I'm just really excited about going forward.
That's great. Janice, how about you? What's your role with the hospice?
I'm the volunteer coordinator for hospice, so that includes the volunteers not only for the thrift store, but for all the other services of hospice.
How many volunteers do you have right now?
We have about 60 volunteers.
That's great. That's a great fleet, but it's never enough.
No, now that we've added the thrift store into one of the things that we do, we have a great need for more volunteers because it's going to be completely staffed by volunteers and one great general manager.
And speaking of our great general manager, it's good to note here that Lois was one of our Mount Fuji team members last year, climbing for breast
Yes,
cancer.
I said this is my second Mount Fuji.
Well, I've seen a lot of the activity around the opening of the store. It's been exciting to watch. I'm sure
yes.
both of you are excited. We have a clip to go to where we actually get a tour of the new store before it opens. So let's watch that clip right now and see how the new store looks.
Our new thrift store here in Truckee. This is Tahoe Forest Hospice Gift and Thrift Store. Come, let me show you. We're just starting out building it up, so things are going to be very different when completed, but let me show you our plans right now. This is a beautiful mural that has been done by Suzanne Alexander, a local artist, and she did this. She donated her time and her talent to us, and we've had a lot of the community come out and help us open this up. This is the entrance right here, and this is going to be where we put our children's area. We're going to have their clothes and some toys here, and this beautiful opening. And then when you walk in here, this is where we're going to put the men's and women's clothing. We have some great racks, and we're going to have everything situated along here, the men's and women's clothes, as well as some linens, bath linens on this side. This is further in the back of the store. We're going to have two dressing rooms side by side here. And this is where we're going to have our library. We're going to have some wonderful books that we can all recycle and enjoy. We're going to have shelving all around here. And this will be our library.
All right, Janice, thank you for that tour of the store.
Oh, my pleasure.
That looks very
Yes.
upper end for a thrift shop. That's not what I'm
It
accustomed
is.
to seeing.
It is. It's a different kind of thrift shop, and we're very, very proud of it. We have wonderful donated items that are new as well as used. So you will find some great, beautiful items in there, and it'll be really priced very well. So.
And thrift and gift indicates to me that it's not just clothing, but you'll have other items as well, gift items.
Oh, yes, we're going the full scale. We'll have furniture, linens, clothes, ski equipment. We'll have a lot of kitchenware and small kitchen appliances. Books. We have a whole room just for the books.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yes.
That's great. Lois, as you look ahead to the store opening and in managing all of this, what's your vision for the gift and thrift shop? What do you want to see a year down the road?
Hopefully that we have made a good profit and that we've got the community interested in being with us and being a part of shopping there, as well as bringing us new and used items, slightly used, gently used.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Let me stop you there. How can the community help right now? The store is getting ready to open. If people wanted to volunteer goods, what kind of merchandise should they be donating?
We want slightly used. We can't use anything that's broken or damaged, stained, that type of thing. But we have taken some things home and washed them and brought them back to the store. Some of our volunteers have been wonderful about doing that. And so you're going to see some very high quality type merchandise at very, very good prices.
That's exciting.
And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
Actually, I'd like to let the whole audience know that we are so excited because we have the great support of some retail stores. And one of our angels that we call her is Stephanie Oliveira, and she owns Cabonas, and she has helped us all along the way. But one of the best things that she's done is she is going to be giving us some of the new items out of her store, and we're going to have it available at a reduced price to the public. And it just overwhelms us with that kind of support. And so we invite everyone to come in, not just people who like to shop at thrift stores, but people who love a great bargain.
That sounds great, and that's very generous of Stephanie to do
Yes.
that. You mentioned some of the things people can donate, some of the things they can't or shouldn't think about donating. Mattresses.
Yes, we can't take any used mattresses. We cannot take any large appliances. You realize our store is large, but we also are limited in space. All of the appliances, small kitchen appliances, they need to be in working order because we don't have anyone to repair it. And we cannot accept like car seats for babies. There's such a long list of things that have been recalled, and it's just easier
From
if
a
we
safety
just,
standpoint.
Yes, we just don't take any of that.
Okay, so you are looking for clothing in good condition.
Yes.
No broken zippers. Clearly, this isn't the stuff
Right.
you'd want to throw out. This is the stuff somebody would want to wear
Right.
and want to pay some money for. Also, the community can help by volunteering time. Now, Janice, you're the volunteer coordinator. What are you looking for?
We're looking for volunteers. We're looking, we have a great need in hospice for volunteers, but our most immediate need right now is for the thrift store. And if we had more volunteers, we could open more days and more hours. So the volunteers will come in, and we need people to sort the donated items, and we need people to be on the sales floor and welcome people and help them with their sales.
Well, I just realized, of course, we've been talking about the thrift and gift shop, but we haven't been talking about where it is. It'll be opening on the 4th of July, but tell us where the store is located.
We have a great location. It's right in Truckee, right off of Donner Pass Road. It's right in back of Truckee River Glass, and it's on Meadow Way.
So it's right across the 7-Eleven or across Donner Pass Road from Wild Cherries.
Yes, yes.
Great. People sort of orient from landmarks.
Okay.
From Wild Cherries to 7-Eleven to the Hospice Gift and Thrift Shop. Lois, what else are you looking for in terms of merchandise or volunteers for the store? What would you like to ask the audience for, since you have the camera?
Oh my goodness. Well, quality furniture is something that just is going to definitely be a plus. And there's a lot of real estate turnover in this community. So I noticed today that we had a gentleman that brought in almost the entire furniture from his home. I mean, he brought us a beautiful chandelier, he brought us a beautiful coffee table, credenza, just all the furniture from his home. And he needed a large truck to bring it to us, and it just overwhelmed me to see this quality furniture, and
That's tremendous.
what we want.
People are really coming out for this.
Yes.
Well, you're opening on the 4th of July. Are you having any special activities? Is there a grand opening?
Yes, we're all going to be there, and Starbucks has donated coffee for that day, and we will give everyone a great tour of the place, and they'll be able to see all these wonderful items we've talked about for sales.
And I might mention I have a red, white, and blue rack of clothing and articles and children's things and adults things, and they will be at a special price.
There you have it,
Great.
the first sale at the sales store.
The firecracker sale.
Great.
Now, the 4th of July is a busy day here in town, and the parade will actually be originating very, very close to your store. What time
Yes.
does the store open?
We'll open right after the parade, and we will have a float in the parade, and so that'll be kind of fun to watch for that float, and then right after the parade is over, we'll be open.
That's great. Lois and Janice, I want to thank you both so much for being on the show, and
Thank
thank
you
you for all the work that you do on behalf of the hospice. Again, the hospice is a tremendous program offering a service to this community that's very needed, and I'm sure very, very appreciated by the families that use it. To reach the store, the Hospice Gift and Thrift, the telephone number is 582 4947. And again, the store opens 4th of July. They are accepting donations prior to opening, of course, and you can contact the hospice at, now let me get my telephone numbers correct, 582-3534. Again, the hospice, 582-3534, and the gift and thrift shop, 582-4947. I want to thank all of our guests on tonight's show, and especially thank the 60-some-odd volunteers who do work for the hospice. It's a great program. For more information on the hospice, please do contact hospice. We'll be showing their numbers. And thank you for joining us on Truckee Talks. We'll see you next time with a very special 4th of July show.